Did the T-Rex have feathers? And if so, what did they look like? In my middle grade novel, Red Rex, available now, the most important dinosaur is, well, the Rex. You'll notice that this Rex has feathers, especially right here along the back of the neck. But did T-Rexes actually have feathers? And if so, what did they look like? This is still very much an open question, and different paleontologists have different informed theories. But before we get into these main theories, there are a couple things we are confident about. First, adult T-Rexes were not entirely covered in feathers. We know this because we've recovered the preserved skin of an adult T-Rex. And this skin was not feathered, it was scaly. Now, it's still possible that adult Rexes had feathery patches and scaly patches, but they weren't covered completely in feathers. Second, Rex relatives had feathers. Maybe the most important example is an early Rex cousin called Dilong paradoxus. It was a member of the same family as T-Rex. It was also much smaller and it was feathered. Okay, now for the major theories. The first is that the T-Rex did not have feathers. They were covered in scales, sort of like the ones in the Jurassic Park movies. The reasoning behind that theory goes something like this. 1. The only preserved Rex skin that we have is scaly. 2. Scientists believe a primary purpose of early feathers was to keep animals warm. That's probably why the Rex's much smaller cousin the Dilong had them. But really large animals, like a Rex, generate so much body heat that they wouldn't really need the feathers to stay warm. That's the same reason why big elephants like elephants don't have fur. They generate so much heat that they don't need it. A related position is that young T-Rexes may have been born with feathers, but they lost these feathers as they matured to adulthood. The same logic applies. When the T-Rex was small, they need the feathers for warmth. But as they grow larger, they no longer need the warmth, so they no longer need the feathers. The second major theory is that Rexes were partially feathered. So they may have had scales, say, on their sides or on their stomachs, but they could have had feathers covering their backs, their necks, down to their tails, areas like that. The basic argument for this theory goes something like this. 1. We know that an ancient cousin of the T-Rex, the Dilong, was feathered. 2. We also know that the Rex's descendants, modern birds, are feathered. Because the animals that came before Rex were feathered and the animals that came after the Rex were feathered, wouldn't you think that the one in the middle, the Rex, would be feathered too? I'll admit, as a non-expert middle grade novelist, both of these theories strike me as at least plausible. Maybe at some future date we'll find enough preserved Rex skin to finally settle the debate. But until then, I'll rest easy in the knowledge that my beautiful feathered T-Rex is at least plausible.